Okay, finish off with the 9 days and then go to discuss a little bit about the Shabas. It's a very unique Shabas. So anyway, we're learning about no meat, no wine. We're learning about changing the clothing. We learned about all the various things that those basically. There's another thing over also that's included in the dinim of the 9 days, and that is in Talmudical times, people used to bathe once a week. The Rambam writes you used to go to the bathhouse once a week. Now obviously people shower today much more often than once a week. But technically in halacha, it's forbidden in the 9 days to bathe oneself with hot water, or warm water for that matter. What you're only allowed to do, and even that for Erev Shabbos really, is your face, feet, and hands. Those are the parts that get dirty. Bottom line is, that's what it says in halacha. If somebody has a dirt spot, they can wash the dirt spot. Again, that's what it says in Shulchan Aruch, that's what it says in the Gemara, that's what it says in halacha, and so on. Bottom line is, today, so then bathing was considered a luxury. So today, bathing is not considered a luxury because people bathe every day. It's not whenever it is. So the bottom line is like this. Let me tell you the way the practical halacha of today is. If somebody feels they need a shower, they can take a shower. If they can do cool water, is better. If they can't do cool water, they can do warm water. If warm water doesn't work, they do hot water. They use soap if they need. In other words, in a practical level, if somebody needs to shower then the 9 days, you're allowed to shower, but it should be a quick shower. You shouldn't just sit there enjoying in the bathtub, laying down and falling asleep in the bathtub or in the shower, just enjoying the shower. It should be a quick shower just to get clean and so on. Those that go to mikveh every day are allowed to go to mikveh every day, even though in halacha it says not like that, but bottom line in the Chassidish Svarim it says if somebody goes to mikveh every day or not every day, they can go during the 9 days to the mikveh. But one thing is for sure, and I mention this every year, and whoever listens to what's right, and if they want to make a chilul Hashem, then they could do it the way that they do it. And that is, if somebody needs to shower during the 9 days, they should not shower publicly in a mikveh. If you go to mikveh, you should not shower. Poskim write this already. Contemporary Poskim write very sharply about people taking. Why? Because basically, you need to take a shower privately. Come into a mikveh taking a shower as if the 9 days don't exist, and I want to take a shower, I need to take a shower, and that's what I'm going to do. It's very wrong. Poskim scream a lot about it. That's very wrong to do, and it shouldn't be done. It's partially like nullifying the whole concept of the mourning over the Bais Din. You need to take a shower because you need to be clean. You take a shower, but not in a public setting in the mikveh or something like that. Except, again, even Friday, not tomorrow. Friday is not yet the 9 days, but even Friday, it even says in Shulchan Aruch, you're only allowed, even for Shabbos, you can only wash your hands, face, and feet. But Lepel, this already poskim right that nowadays, everybody holds you can take a shower Erev Shabbos, and by Chassidim was a minute, they took it publicly in the mikveh with soap and everything, but that's the covered Shabbos. Otherwise, they shouldn't do it. Now, 1 second. Swimming, pleasurable swimming, is not allowed to be done during the 9 days. If somebody needs to swim for exercise, that means the doctor says you need to swim because you need exercise, not because somebody, I need exercise, okay, I'm going to go swimming. It's like, today Rabbanim were screaming, I heard a tape of a big Rav screaming about what's going on in the world today with the 3 weeks, that people just openly desecrate the whole concept of the mourning over the Bais Din. It's the destruction of the Bais Din that we're mourning over. And it says whoever mourns over the destruction of the Bais Din will merit to see the rebuilding of the Bais Din. So people have to realize you can't swim. If you have a medical condition and the doctor says you need to swim, so then you're allowed to swim during the 9 days. Otherwise, just because I need, I'm depressed, I need to listen to music, or this is what people are doing today a lot. So these are things that swimming you can't do unless if it's like mikveh, like for a woman or for a man. Okay, that's as far as the rest of the 9 days. What do you want?
About just rinsing is like before you go to bed, just rinsing yourself, not like you're taking a shower. You just get, before you go to the mikvah, public.
If you want to be in halacha, it says you shouldn't.
Okay.
You dunk in the water, you do rinsed. What's the big deal?
The law of the mikveh sometimes says that take a shower.
Take a shower, yeah. When somebody goes to a mikvah on Shabas, they're not allowed to take a shower, right? But it says in the mikveh, take a shower. So what do they do? Take a shower on Shabbos?
Water, cold water.
You're not allowed to take a cold shower on Shabbos. It's halachically forbidden to wash your entire body, even in cold water on Shabbos. Okay, let's discuss a little bit about this Shabbos. First of all, the Shabbos is Rosh Chodesh, so it's the beginning of the 9 days. Rosh Chodesh of, by the way, is the yahrzeit, it says clearly in Chumash, is the yahrzeit of Aaron HaKohen. Aaron HaKohen passed away Rosh Chodesh of. Rosh Chodesh of. Chodesh HaChamishi B'echad LaChodesh, Pasuk in Chumash, that Aaron HaKohen passed away. Now, all the laws of the 9 days, besides the fact that it's Shabbos, would apply in the night Rosh Chodesh also. But this year again, you can eat meat and wine because it's Shabbos. So there's a number of things you have to keep in mind. Number one, you have to say Yalav V'Yaveh by Mariv. In the benching, you have Friday night, you have to say Ritzei and Yalav V'Yaveh. If you forgot Yalav V'Yaveh in benching on Rosh Chodesh, you don't have to repeat the benching. So if somebody said Ritzei, because if they left out Ritzei, they would have to repeat the benching. But if they said, let's say, they said Ritzei, but they forgot Yalav V'Yaveh, so Rosh Chodesh, you don't have to bench over. If you left it over in the Shemoneh Esrei by day, if you miss Shachris Yalav V'Yaveh, then you have to repeat the Shemoneh Esrei. Okay, now Kriyas HaTorah Shabbos is 2 Sefer Torahs, because you have one Matis Maseh, which is the longest Kriya possible of combination of 2 parshas, and then you have the Kriya of Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. So you have 7 aliyahs in the regular Matis Maseh, and then you have second Sefer Torah you take out for Rosh Chodesh, which is in Parshas Pinchas, which is really in the previous parsha. But nevertheless, the meaning is you take out 2 Sefer Torahs. If you have 1 Sefer Torah, then after Kaddish, you roll it back to Rosh Chodesh for Maftir. What?
Last week you mentioned something about the week of...
The what?
The week of Tish.
Yeah. This year there's no week of Tish.
There's no week.
Because Tish is Sunday. If Tish would be on Shabbos, pushed off to Sunday, then there's 2 opinions in halacha if the week before is the week of Tish. Because all opinions that Tish is Sunday, so then there's no week of Tish.
So what does that mean?
It's, practically speaking, not too much in a general sense. There's certain things, like if somebody ran out of clothing, you're allowed to wash during the 9 days exactly the amount of clothing that you need, but not in the week of Tisha B'Av. Not in the week of Tisha B'Av. There's really stages, because on the 7th of Av, the Gemara says, the Romans went into the Bais Din and started, messing it up, just ruining it. And then on the 9th in the afternoon, Tisha B'Av in the afternoon, is when they actually lit the Bais Din. The Bais Din was burnt Tisha B'Av in the afternoon through the 10th. Okay? So the Gemara asks, so why don't we fast? Why isn't it the 10th of Av? The Gemara says, Rabbi Yechon said, if I would have been there, I would have made the fast in the 10th of Av. But the Gemara says, why didn't they? Why did they make it the 9th of Av if it was lit in the afternoon? The answer is because the beginning of the destruction, the burning of it, is actually, the whole building's already inflamed. So there were certain people that Rav, the Gemara says that he would fast 2 days, the 9th and the 10th. But halachically today we only fast on the 9th, Tisha B'Av, we don't fast the 10th of Av. So you have that Kriyas HaTorah. But now the question is, what haftarah do you say this week? Because it's Rosh Chodesh. Normally, when it's Shabbos Rosh Chodesh, you say the Haftarah of Rosh Chodesh, you don't say the Haftarah of the regular week. But this week's regular week is one of the three, the Gimel Peronius said, the three Haftarahs that deal with punishments and the Nevi'im admonishing the Jews for their wicked behavior. So there's a lot of different opinions in halacha, which haftarah do you say? So our custom is, we say the haftarah of Maseh, Shimud Dvar Hashem, and we add the first and last pasuk of Rosh Chodesh. Okay, so we say not the haftarah of Rosh Chodesh, we say the haftarah of Maseh, and the first and last psukim of Shabas Rosh Chodesh. But if somebody does Ma'avid Sedra, so then they have to do the Haftarah of Maseh. Matas we did this past week. You have to do the Haftarah of Maseh and the whole Haftarah of Rosh Chodesh. But in Shul, we only say, but there's a lot of different customs. Some people say the Haftarah of Rosh Chodesh. There's a lot, the various different customs. But Chabad custom is we say the Haftarah of Maseh plus the first and the last two psukim of Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. So that's that. So Shabbos is like this. Even though it's the 9 days, Shabbos, you can eat meat, you can drink wine. There's not supposed to be any sadness, any mourning whatsoever. On the contrary, it says you're supposed to be more besimcha on Shabbos than you would during the whole year. Why? Because we don't want to show any sign of mourning on Shabbos. Shabbos is higher than Avelus. There's a story with the Arizal. One of the Arizal's Talmidim, he used to say Nachem every day. And we said Nachem and Hey Of, which was the Arizal's yahrzeit. The Arizal was upset. The Arizal already passed away. But the Arizal was angry at him. There was a person in the Rebbe's father's shul, Reb Leivik's shul, that would wear sneakers every Shabbos. And Shabbos Tish, the Rebbe's father told him, you can't wear sneakers today. Even though he wears it every Shabbos. But today, it's Tish B'Av, you're not allowed to show any sign of mourning on Shabbos. So therefore, you're not allowed to wear those non-leather shoes. Now, what do you do without, what? Oh, what do you do? You want to ask something? No. Okay. So now what do you do with Havdalah Saturday night? So Saturday night, we discussed this already, but again, just to remind people right before Shabbos, Mitzvah Shabbos, so some people have a minhag of making on beer. Because beer you could drink during the 9 days. So you make Havdalah on beer, and then it's a regular Saturday night Havdalah, and you make it on beer. Our minhag is we don't make it on beer, we make it on wine. And it says in halacha the following: if there's a kid that's old enough to understand what Havdalah is, but not old enough to understand what the destruction of the Bais Din is all about, and the age in halacha ranges anywhere from 7 to 13. There are poskim that say a kid's under 13 could drink the wine. But in our circles, we're not too strict about that, because in Shulchan Aruch it says that if there's no kid around, then you drink it yourself. So we're not very meticulous. But the Rebbe's meaning, the Rebbe was meticulous that a kid should drink the wine. But that was a different story. But in the Chassidish circles, generally, not only Chabad, in the Chassidish circles, they make Havdalah, they drink the wine. If there's a kid, you give it to the kid. But it's not a big thing. But you don't make Havdalah, because according to halacha, it's interesting. Halacha, you're not supposed to make Havdalah on beer unless there's no wine. Chamar Medina, the Alter Rebbe says in Hilchos Shabbos, that Chamar Medina is really good if there's no wine. But if there's wine, there's exceptions to the rule. Like the previous Rebbe used to make Havdalah Metzoi Pesach on beer, because he didn't have beer for he drank a beer. He didn't have beer for 8 days, so it was very, very precious to him. But like this, our custom is we try to avoid making Havdalah on beer, we make it on wine. What?
Can't say that inside the Gavra you can't have wine.
What do you mean?
Because the 9 days.
For me, I understand.
For Havdalah, right?
So you're saying you shouldn't drink the wine?
So I'm saying, why? I mean, can you say that that's why Chema Medina should work in that sense?
No, the minhag is we make it on wine, because wine lechatchila is the best thing to make Havdalah on. And it's a mitzvah, it's a cup of a mitzvah, so it's not a din of wine in that case. And halacha says, by the way, you don't have to make sure it's a smaller cup, you can take a bigger cup, you can drink the entire cup, you don't have to drink, only a a drop of whatever it is. Yes, sir.
Shabbos morning Kiddush also, you must have a wine.
Ideally, it's better to make Kiddush and wine. Generally speaking, the Rebbe didn't like people making Kiddush and grape juice. If people did, they did. I mean, they used to have a shalosh shudas upstairs in 770 that the Rebbe's brother-in-law would say a maimer every Shabbos over there. But when they used grape juice and they made Havdalah upstairs in 770 when the Rebbe was there, and they made it over grape juice. But the Rebbe answered a lot of people that he doesn't like when people make Havdalah or Kiddush on grape juice. In fact, when the Rebbe had his heart attack, Shmini Atzeres night, and they wanted the Rebbe to drink orange juice, okay, and the Rebbe said, I have to make Kiddush first. So they brought the Rebbe grape juice. The Rebbe said, we don't make Kiddush on grape juice. The Rebbe was in the middle of a heart attack. He said, we don't make Kiddush on grape juice, we make Kiddush on wine. So he brought him wine. Then he said, but we have to go out to the sukkah. Shmini Atzeres, we don't eat anything out of a sukkah. So they took the Rebbe out to the sukkah. He made Kiddush and wine in the middle of a heart attack.